It's a pleasure for me to introduce to you our road to become a digital player. So and make then even the industry not so boring as it may be perceived, especially by the young people in the years before. And I think there are a lot of very, very good examples we can address here and we can exchange with you. So I want to be a bit more pragmatic, show you then finally then also some concrete examples we have already in place. But from my point, it's also important to understand a bit where we are coming from. And you can see here, so it's not too long ago when you didn't have even recognized these companies you can see here. And there is also a huge correlation between the value of these companies. So therefore, it's a huge fantasy from the analysts and the capital markets. What will happen there. And I think there is one common, what you can see here. So Uber, they do not have a fleet. So Airbnb, they do not have lodging and own beds. Facebook has finally no content, and Alibaba has no inventory. So what does it mean? So the way how values are produced changed really completely. So and therefore we have to make our mind on that as well, because that's completely customer driven. So that's on the demand of the customer, what the customer is asking for. So and I'm quite sure that that will change the environment we have to deal with insurance industry as well. On the opposite, I'm really not afraid about that, because we do not consider that as a disruption by revolution. So, but it will be a huge disruption by evolution. So, and there we see a lot of opportunities where we can really be a prominent part in doing that and even to develop that. One of the most important questions we are talking, and that's not the purpose of my speech today, but I want to tackle that, is should we consider them as a competitor or should we consider them more or less as a partner? I think that's not a question which is really solved yet. There are also, in that respect, there are changes. So today Amazon introduced that they will get also an, let's say, call an insurance company or at least an MGA. They will do extended warranty business by their own. So that might be the first step now, that one of the very, very prominent player could get then also a competitor. But again, so from our perspective, it might be more important to make use out of them, and even to partner could be more attractive on a mid and long-term perspective as well. I think it's quite obvious, so that for us as insurance industry, there is really a quite long road to go yet. So we are not in the same position as, let's say, some other industries are, and I think we are even not in the same line as the banking industry. That's also driven by the customer behavior. So therefore, a lot of efforts are still needed. I think everybody, even from our competitors, have that on top on the agenda, so that's okay, but only to have it on top of the agenda, therefore, the problem is not solved yet. So, and therefore, you have to establish also a kind of institutional skill. So, what Alessandra mentioned from Generali, that's the same in our group. So, that's not self-given. So, you have really to work a lot on that. And it has a lot of different aspects. So, you can see that here. First of all, it's the client service where we have the first steps, and you will see that later on. The question digital marketing, I think everybody knows how Facebook is making money. So for the insurance industry, it's not the same situation yet, and we are far away that we can really use social media to make really business here. On the other side, concerning all the support functions, it's really from utmost important to be present there as well. From my point of view, the most important issue to become digital are the processes. And here I can also foster what Alessandra said already. It's not only to put a product on the website. So that's, from my point of view, especially in the current situation, the minor part. Our industry will be much driven by cost effects, even if you are a bigger company. So I assume the claims ratio are quite similar. So the competition will be done by the costs. So and therefore it's from utmost important that you have really a very cost efficient company. On the other side, delivering also some processes to the customer to make the product more convenient. There will be also new insurance products for the time being that are especially in Europe more micro-insurance products, and that will not compensate everything else what we see. So we have all the same problem that the traditional life insurance business is not such attractive anymore for the customer, and for sure we cannot balance that out with micro-insurance products. But there will be new insurance products, also driven completely by different customer behavior, especially for the young people. For most of them, it makes no sense anymore to insure the entire household, but they want to have to insure their quite expensive bike or their iPhone or the flat screen. That's a completely different item. Data analytics, I think Alessandra mentioned already. I think we have already a lot of data. Okay, we have less data than, for example, the banks, but we have already data. But for the time being, we cannot consider that we are doing really very lot out of that. So, and there's a lot of room for improvement. And we have to have a clear directive in advance of our IT infrastructure. We have a lot of legacy issues. That's normal because we have a lot of long-tail business, especially in the life insurance. So everybody who is dreaming about a cloud-saluted digital IT, okay, that's fine for everything which is in front of us, but everything which is in the back of us, we have to deal with all the legacy. So you can see it's really a big roadmap you have to deal with. And now I want to come how we are doing that. Now lean back for the next 45 minutes. I will go through all that. No, I'm kidding. That's the way how we are doing that. We are a German-based international company as ERGO in Munich Re. Therefore, we are doing that everything in a very structured way. That's our trend radar, which deals with all the trends we see in the innovative and digital aspects. You can even see that on the website from Munich Re, and we cluster that we say the inner circle where we say we have to adapt it. I think it's clear telematics, we have to adapt smart home, we have to adapt cybersecurity, we have to adapt directly, and we are also pushing our companies on the international side a lot that they are dealing with that. Then the next layer is trial, so where we say, okay, we do not really know what will happen there, but it would make a lot of sense to at least try and find a first experience in some of our companies. The next layer is to assess, where we say, okay, we have to have at least an eye on that. And then there is something which is hold, where we say, okay, that is a trend we see, but there is no need to do it directly. This is changing on a periodical way. So, for example, Internet of Things was, let's say, one part of it. So, but now we say Internet of Things may become so important. So that's a cluster by its own. And that's the way how we are dealing with that, looking at that. We have also a lot of people sitting in Munich and in other locations as well, and I'm also quite astonished, like Dietmar pointed out already before. So I do not really even know how many people we have who are dealing with that, but the good news is we have them, so, and we can really build on that as well. So now how we are translating that to ERGO. You see that we have our ERGO strategy program, ESP, which is somehow the Bible, what we are doing now. And we have 3 parts in that. That's fit, digital, and successful. And you can see that digital is really in the center of what we are doing. We will invest, and that's a number which is published, 1 billion euros in that program. Fit, most of that we have already done, because fit means also that we have to work on our costs, that we have to make our mind on our traditional life insurance portfolio. But then digital will be the basis then to be successful. But we are separating that. You can see that here as well. There is some called the basis IT. So because again we have that, let's say, millions of customers we have to deal with. So, but there's also a clear announcement from our side that everything which will be new, we will translate in a digital IT to be quite more flexible, and that I will come to that later on. We will do outside of Germany to be here by far more efficient than what we can do in Germany here. So, and then finally that will lead to successful. There are also some initiatives where we say, okay, then building up the basis to be fit and digital, then we might be successful, but then also with some layerings. One is quite important for me. First of all, or 2 items I want to stress a bit. first is the hybrid customer. We have to deal with that. The bad news is that you do not know what the hybrid customer is about, because I'm also a hybrid customer, but my expectation towards insurance is completely different than to my son, who is 30, and he's a hybrid customer as well. So, and therefore there is no one size fits all. So, and we have really to deal that very, very intelligent how to deal with that customer. And the other one, I think that's also important, we have to partner. So I think it's from utmost importance. There are industries who are really ahead of us. So, and if we don't want that they will stick in our business, so we should really partner with them and use their experience, not only concerning customer behavior and customer base, but use their experience as well to enlarge our business, and then for sure have also a win-win situation what they are doing currently. So that was the basis, and now I want to show you some concrete examples. What are we doing? So that could fill a lot of time. So, but I will only give you some titles in that, and for sure that's not all. But for example, I didn't mention Chatty because that's too new. Because everything what you are seeing here is already in place. So, and we have already first experiences. And I think one is important beside Nexable, which will be the last I will mention. All the others are support and process functions. So we do not expect that we are getting a lot of business directly out of that. So that's due to support and processes, because we think, okay, first of all, we have to build our basis. I want to start with digital doctors. That's something what we are doing in Spain, where we have a quite big health insurance company. The customer have the opportunity to move directly either in a chat function or with a video function towards somebody who is talking to him. He can mention what's about. He is getting a first indication what to do, and then also then a first, or maybe then in a second step, then a transfer to a doctor. So, and we are quite sure with this process, first of all, we are very, very convenient, because the customer for sure can do that from everywhere. So, and he is getting really a quite good and a quite fact-based diagnosis already. So, and that's also supporting his convenience towards the insurance companies, but frankly speaking, for us it has an advantage as well. So, because we are leading here our processes really a lot, and it's very, very often used by FaceTime, for example. So, and it's really highly appreciated by our customers. iMonitor is a quite important example. It was developed in Poland. First of all, it was a steering tool, because in Poland, the renewal in motor insurance business need a signature from the customer. So, and we explored that we are losing by far more customers we have already than could be compensated by new business. So, and therefore we developed a tool which is app-based. We are steering all the agencies via the smartphone. And can do that really on a day, not even daily base, but we are completely time to market. And that enlarged our renewal ratio enormously. Why am I mentioning that? That is a pure digital app, was developed by the colleagues in Poland over there, and we were able, with a quite low effort, I think it took only 4 to 6 months to transfer that to Russia, to Turkey, and to Greece. And the next step is already in place. It's called Hestia, where we allow the customer to go directly to our backend system. So, and we assume that 80% of the processes a customer normally is doing can be done directly. The most famous one is if he changes his address, he has to do something, but there is no reason not to do that directly in our backend system. We are doing that in Amazon normally on a daily basis, so we are still afraid. That's also a bit driven by our sales agencies, but that will really be a big advantage in the next future concerning our processes. Yep. ERGO Digital Lab, I think it's important to be also on the ground, so therefore we have several digital labs, one in Berlin, in Tel Aviv, and in London as well. We are working here together with internal, external staff to be close to the startup scene. I think it's important to be there, so that's also a quite important internal marketing issue. So because we have also to convince our employees that they are working in an innovative company. And we have also some, let's say, small successes here concerning some apps. And I think we are doing that quite good, but there is still a lot of room for improvement. And if somebody is asking me, is there really a huge economic outcome out of that? For the time being, no. Smart home covers, I think everybody knows what's behind. We assume that in Germany, in 2020, nearly 2.53 billion households will have a smart home, and there will be a lot of advantages for the customers. Internet of Things we covered already. That will have a huge value for the customer, but for the insurance company as well. Everything is already in place. We try to partner that together with Deutsche Telekom, where really smart home covers with their Magenta products can be done by the customer himself. It's not such expensive, and it will deliver a lot of value. And now we have to organize something to take benefit out of that. For example, to give some discount to the customer if they use that. But it's important, that's what I mentioned in one of my previous slides, partnering is here from utmost importance. ERGOlution is the program where we are covering in Austria a lot of different initiatives. For example, digital signature. So we are able that contracts are signed digital already. We have different distribution partners, so we cannot establish that in each and any distribution channel. But to make that more convenient and to make it also on the ground, we have a project with Master Data Management. Where we are then better prepared to do data analytics, and there are a lot of initiatives which should then bring us to a quite important market position concerning being digital. Accelerators is also a partnering model. We are doing a partnering with Axel Springer in Germany, together with them with Plug and Play. And here again, I mentioned already, we shouldn't be so shy. Again, there are industries who are far ahead. So, and we should really make use out of that. That can really deliver a lot of value. Chatbot is a very interesting issue we have in India. The guys in India have, let's say, a quite easy system established to support their call center agencies with the chatbot functions, and I got some quite recent data, so we have that now in place since some times. So, and we were able to decrease the call by 18% already, only because the agent is using the chatbot. So, and if you transfer that to the process, so that will give us a lot of advantages to be by far more professional and even cheaper than we were before. Now we are enlarging that to the customer agent, call center agent as well. And what we are doing also is the robotic processing. And we are quite sure that even if you have some scale, then it's very, very easy then to do that a bit more in a robotic processed area. And here we assume also that over 80% of the processes can be done out of that kind of function. Last not least, and that's not a supporting model, but it's my favorite, it's Nexable. Because Nexable is a new insurance company we launched in Germany mid of October. It's a motor insurance company, and it's a pure digital. So it's like Amazon, you cannot even call them. So that's an experiment, and we have also a lot of discussions in the group. Will the customer accept it? So if you cannot even call them, only to make communication via email or via chat function, I think the first steps are very encouraging, but I think it's also important to do that really completely out of your existing world. So they are an ERGO company, but nobody's seeing that. They are sitting somewhere else. We bought an IT platform using our old legacy system. The general manager is coming from Vodafone, so zero experience with insurance business. No? But he's driving the company in a completely different spirit than what we had before. And we took the decision to do that November last year, and with, let's say, only an idea, and went live in October. And I think that's really quite remarkable, but it's considered even in our group as a with an experiment, because nobody knows if the customer will accept it. I think for the selling process it will work. The question will be if the first claims will occur. So then is the question, will we be able to do that then also in this remote consistency as well? So that are already concrete examples we have already in place. The question, yeah, that's the last slide. Yeah, and the question is what will happen. So you can see here we are all expecting self-driving vehicles already. 3 or 4 weeks ago, the first bus was established in Bavaria. He is driving 700 meters and has the capacity for 12 passengers. So, and that will be the future. We have also some predictions from our mother company who are doing a lot of research. So if that will happen, so they assume that the car insurance market in Europe will drop by 50%. So, and also that means the income for the agents will drop by 50%, maybe even more. So that's done already. That is already live. So, and for us, it's important that we are really playing on different fields here. So, because frankly speaking, nobody knows what will happen in the next 10 or 15 years. So, 10 years ago, let's say the iPhone went to a broader public. So, and everything what was predicted 20 years ago was without any clue on what will happen with the smartphone. But I think it's important to be here on stage. So there will be a lot of developments over there. But on the opposite, again, and that's my final remark, we expect disruption by evolution and not by revolution. There will be some new players, that's for sure. But I'm quite sure that we as an industry can counter that in a quite good way. But it's important to start. It's really important to start, and therefore from us, we have to deal with this trend radar, even if it's not delivering a huge volume of premiums in the next days, weeks, and even months. Okay, thanks a lot.